Imagine this. You're in a room filled with ambitious people. Some play fair, believing hard work and integrity will lead them to success. Others manipulate, deceive, and trample over anyone in their way. And yet, it's often the ruthless ones who rise the highest. Why? Is the world truly rigged in favor of the worst among us? Or is there something deeper at play? Something hidden within the very fabric of human nature? Look around. History, politics, business. Everywhere you turn, you find the same pattern. Ruthless emperors outlasted noble kings. Cutthroat CEOs built empires, while ethical entrepreneurs struggled in the shadows. Politicians lied their way to the top, while honest voices were drowned in the noise. This isn't just a coincidence. It's a feature of human psychology and social evolution. For centuries, we've been told a comforting lie, that justice prevails, that the good are rewarded, and that the world is fair. But step outside the illusion, and you see a different truth. Power is rarely given to those who deserve it. It is taken by those who understand the game. In a world of scarcity, competition is inevitable, and in competition, hesitation is fatal. While the kind-hearted second guess, the ruthless act. While the fair wait for permission, the bold seize control. This is the reality that history teaches us. Power does not reward morality. It rewards those who understand it. But here's the paradox. While ruthless individuals often rise, their success is rarely permanent. History is filled with their downfalls, as dramatic as their ascents. So, the real question is not just why they rise, but whether their dominance is sustainable. And more importantly, if you refuse to abandon your principles, does that mean you're destined to be left behind? To answer this, we must go deeper into the nature of power itself. And for that, we turn to one of the most controversial thinkers in history, Friedrich Nietzsche. Picture two warriors standing on a battlefield. One stands tall, strong, decisive, fearless. He does not ask for permission. He takes what he wants. His confidence bends the world to his will. The other hesitates, waiting for approval, seeking fairness, hoping the world will recognize his virtue. He believes that by following the rules, justice will reward him. Now ask yourself, which of these two is more likely to survive? Which is more likely to lead, and which will be left behind? Friedrich Nietzsche argued that morality itself is not a universal truth, but a byproduct of power struggles throughout history. Those who dominate impose their own values, while those who cannot rule invent moral systems to justify their powerlessness. This is the foundation of his most controversial idea: master morality versus slave morality. Master morality is the morality of rulers, conquerors, creators. It is built on strength, ambition, courage, and the will to power. The strong do not seek validation. They define their own worth. They do not wait for permission. They shape the world according to their will. To them, good is what enhances life, power, and self-overcoming. Weakness is not something to be protected. It is something to be transcended. Master morality belongs to those who act while others hesitate. Those who create instead of complain. Those who rise despite opposition, not those who wait to be lifted. Slave morality, by contrast, is the morality of the oppressed, the weak, the hesitant. Unable to impose their will, they glorify qualities that serve their survival: humility, obedience, self-sacrifice. It teaches that suffering is noble, that power is inherently evil, that the strong should be restrained. It paints ambition as selfish, dominance as cruel, and confidence as arrogance. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Slave morality does not prevent the rise of the ruthless. It enables it. By condemning ambition, by shaming the pursuit of power, by glorifying submission as virtue, it leaves power in the hands of those who do not care about morality at all. While the noble-hearted hesitate, those who embrace master morality take control. And in a world where hesitation equals defeat, the results are inevitable. So, where does this leave us? Should we abandon morality entirely and embrace the ruthless path? Or is there another way? One that reconciles strength and virtue, power and ethics? To find the answer, we must look deeper, beyond morality itself, into the psychology of those who truly rise to power. Look at the world as it truly is, not as you wish it to be. The hard truth? Not all successful people are ruthless, but many who succeed understand power better than those who don't. Psychologists have studied the traits that predict success in highly competitive environments: politics, business, war. The findings are uncomfortable. High ambition, a relentless drive to climb, no matter the obstacles. Low fear sensitivity, the ability to act decisively, even in high-stakes situations. Reduced emotional inhibition, less hesitation, less guilt when making difficult choices. This doesn't mean that all powerful people are psychopaths, but it does mean that many of them possess a distinct psychological advantage: the ability to act without the emotional constraints that hold others back. Look at history. From Julius Caesar to modern business moguls, those who rise share a common trait. They understand that power is not given, it is taken. They do not wait for fairness. They do not assume hard work alone will bring them success. They play the game while others question if they should even be playing at all. This is why the ruthless often rise. But here's where most people misunderstand power. Ruthlessness alone is not enough. History is littered with the corpses of tyrants who thought they were invincible, until they weren't. The same qualities that allow a person to climb to the top can also lead to their spectacular downfall. A leader who rules through fear alone will eventually be consumed by the very forces they once controlled. A dictator who silences opposition will one day find himself surrounded by enemies with no one left to protect him. So if ruthlessness isn't the answer, then what is? If those who hesitate are left behind, but those who rule with pure dominance ultimately fall, what is the real path to power? To answer this, we must go beyond simple survival. We must look at those who do not just take power but transcend it. Nietzsche had a name for them: the Übermensch. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast abyss. Behind you lies the world as it is, rigid, unfair, dominated by those who exploit power without wisdom. Before you lies the unknown, a path few dare to walk. Most will hesitate, shackled by doubt, waiting for permission. But a rare few will step forward, not just to seize power, but to transcend the very rules that bind others. These individuals are the Übermensch. Nietzsche did not believe in blind domination. He did not advocate for mindless ruthlessness. Instead, he pointed to a higher path, a third way that rises beyond the weak morality of submission and the destructive hunger for control. The Übermensch is not a tyrant, nor a victim. They do not wait for permission. They create their own destiny. They balance power with wisdom, strength with self-awareness. They do not manipulate out of insecurity. They build out of mastery. The Übermensch understands a fundamental truth. Power is not about crushing others. It is about self-overcoming. The weak are trapped by fear. They conform to the expectations imposed on them. The ruthless are trapped by control. They fear losing their dominance. But the Übermensch moves forward, unshackled by fear, unburdened by the need for external validation. This is what separates them from the manipulators, the tyrants, the opportunists. The truly powerful are not those who control others, but those who have mastered themselves. At the heart of the Übermensch is one of Nietzsche's most misunderstood ideas: the will to power. Many assume it means the desire to dominate, but Nietzsche meant something far more profound. The will to power is not just about ruling others. It is about the internal drive to create, to transform, to impose meaning upon a meaningless world. The tyrant seeks power to control others. The Übermensch seeks power to become something greater than they were yesterday. The ruthless play a temporary game, climbing through deception and force. But the Übermensch plays the infinite game, one of creation, transcendence, and mastery. While others are consumed by power, the Übermensch wields it with clarity. They do not serve power. Power serves them. Here lies the great paradox. The worst people may rise, but they will never transcend. History is filled with leaders, rulers, and conquerors who mistook raw domination for true strength. They took what they wanted, but left nothing of real value behind. Their names are remembered not in reverence, but as cautionary tales. Meanwhile, the Übermenschen of history, the visionaries, the builders, the creators, left legacies that outlived them. They understood that real power is not about control, but about mastery over oneself. The question is, which path will you take? Now that you understand why the worst people often succeed, you stand at a crossroads. You have three choices. 1. Ignore these truths and hope that fairness will protect you. 2. Abandon all morality and manipulate your way to power. 3. Master the game, wielding power without losing yourself. The first choice is a fantasy. The world has never been fair. Power is not handed to those who deserve it. It is claimed by those who understand its nature. The second choice leads to self-destruction. The ruthless rise fast, but they also fall hard. Power without wisdom devours itself. The third choice, the path of the Übermensch, is the only one that transcends both weakness and cruelty. This is the path of those who do not just survive, but reshape the very fabric of reality around them. Most people fail not because they are incapable, but because they are playing by rules that no longer exist. From childhood, we are told comforting lies. Good people always win. Hard work alone leads to success. Justice will always prevail. And then reality hits. The hardest workers are not always the wealthiest. The most honest do not always lead. The kindest hearts are often the most broken. This disconnect is not a mistake in the system. It is the system. Many fall into the just world fallacy, the belief that fairness is built into existence. But reality is not a fairy tale. Power does not distribute itself based on virtue. It moves according to those who understand how to wield it. So what does this mean for you? Should you abandon ethics entirely? Not quite. The key is to understand power without being enslaved by it. Those who suffer the most in life are often those who believe that playing nice will be enough. But those who rise are the ones who combine integrity with strategy, kindness with strength, and morality with a deep understanding of how power actually works. Here's how. Stop expecting fairness. The strongest competitors do not waste time complaining about injustice. They learn the rules and use them to their advantage. Strategic empathy. Do not assume others share your values. Understand people deeply. Recognize their motives, anticipate their moves, and navigate deception without becoming deceptive yourself. Overcome fear. Most people are controlled by fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of standing alone. The Übermensch, however, cultivates internal power, the ability to act despite fear. Create, don't just take. The ruthless rise fast, but they fall because their power is built on exploitation, not creation. The true Übermensch builds something indispensable. Whether it's a business, an idea, a movement, or personal mastery, when you create value, your power is earned, not stolen. Master controlled ruthlessness. There is a difference between mindless ruthlessness and strategic decisiveness. The first destroys without purpose. The second makes hard choices when necessary, but always with a clear vision. The mistake most people make is believing they have only two choices: be ruthless or be a victim. But there is a third way. The Übermensch does not wait for the world to recognize their worth. They impose it. They do not let outdated moral illusions keep them from greatness. They forge a new morality, one rooted in power, wisdom, and self-overcoming. They do not play by rules designed to keep them small. They rewrite the rules entirely. And this brings us to the final, most important question. Is power evil? Or is it simply misunderstood? Power is the force that shapes the world. It determines who leads and who follows, who rises and who falls. But power itself is neither good nor evil. It is merely a tool, a weapon in the hands of the corrupt, a shield in the hands of the just, a chisel in the hands of the Creator. Those who fear power are doomed to be ruled by those who do not. But those who master power without being consumed by it become unstoppable. The choice is yours. If you've made it this far, then something inside you knows the truth. You know that the world does not reward passivity. You know that hesitation leads to defeat. You know that waiting for fairness is a trap. So the only question left is, what will you do with this knowledge? If you're ready to master power on your own terms, to rise, not by deception or cruelty, but by strength, intelligence, and self-mastery, then take the first step. Subscribe to The Existential Edge and start the journey today. Because the future does not belong to those who wait. It belongs to those who take it.